Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. Hope all of you are doing well. This is a video session on daily news and editorial analysis dated 3rd of January 2024. Through this video session, I'll be discussing the important news and editorial both from the Hindu and Indian Express, which will help variety of aspirant appearing for the competitive examination, which include civil services examination, state public service commission examination, and various one-day examination conducted in India, right? So the entire gamut of people will be definitely benefited from this session that we are going ahead. Before I begin the session, especially highlight to the aspirant of prelims examination, I mean the upcoming CSE prelims 2024, we have a program which is known as Nischay All India Test Series program. Now this program is vital for all the aspirants who will be appearing for 2024 because we are providing 4900 plus questions along with the video discussions, demo test, and free magazine for content enrichment. Now this is a time where 26th May is a time where your actual exam is scheduled. Now you need to practice a good number of MCQs, and what would be best in that part of All India Test Series where you even come to know what is your ranking and how you are making a performance. So do check it out. You can even use this QR code for instant registration and even reach out to our website for further details. Now I'll proceed with the news highlights of the day. After that, we'll be coming for the detailed analysis of the news one by one. So starting with the highlights of the day. The first important news talks about the new hit and run rule that government has actually come up with the new rules which is there under the BNS. We'll see the detail to that. Second important news talks about the right that is given to a woman employee that she can nominate children over the spouse for the pension. Something very important which will call for more women empowerment in the country. Third important news talks about the implementation of the new criminal law code, which was actually passed recently by the parliament. So some notified date which is there by the government official is by 26th of January. Now the second last news talks about the part of movement which is there along the border of Myanmar. Government is looking forward to cancel the entire free movement regime. They will have a regulation part. We have seen a lot of people moving out from the border region and the other trouble that is coming in the region. So that will be curbed out by the cancellation of free regime movement. Right? Now we'll conclude this session with editorial that specifically talks about the office of governor and what are the radical reform that were required. In the recent time, we have come across the state of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, where there have been repeated part of the part of the conflict of interest coming from the office of governor and even the state functioning. So we'll see the detail and deep down that how we need to overcome this tussle going between the center, I mean by center I mean the governor of the state, moving ahead with the part of state legislature. Let's get started with a detailed analysis of the news one by one. So the first important news is about a protest which is ongoing pan-India. This is with regards to the new rule. The new rule is basically with the hit and run. So hit and run, I think the word itself is evident. You must have come across incidents in highway or either in the state roadways that there have been frequent incident of hit and run. The tractor, the people from the truck drivers and other fraternity are actually involved in this, and the accident took place, right? So a nationwide protest was there because of the new rule which is under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which is known as BNS. This was recently passed. तो इसमें कुछ provisions रखे गए हैं, penal provisions बढ़ाए गए हैं. I'll tell you what are the exact provision in a while, but you need to know the background. So this is the why the people, the fraternity of the union of basically the truck drivers is making a protest because of the stringent rule that is there under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Now, what is the exact changes that has been brought in under the provision of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita? Now, this particular rule actually replace the part of Indian Penal Code. अगर IPC की बात करें, पहले IPC हुआ करती थी, which is again a colonial era part of the code, or you can say the procedure which was actually in function. Now government has come up with BNS, that is भारतीय न्याय संहिता. इस पर्टिकुलर में कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ों को ऐड की गई है. अगर कोई भी ट्रक ड्राइवर्स, राइट, इफ दे आर काउजिंग एनी सीरियस रोड एक्सीडेंट बाय नेग्लिजेंट, they no priorly need to inform. I mean इस तरह की अगर कोई इंसिडेंट हो गई तो they cannot run away without making an intimations to the nearest police station. So जो वहाँ की nearest police stations होंगी, right? So there they have to make an intimation. You can say in short PS. So the PS need to be informed, and if they are not informing, if they are found to be one who is actually committed that particular incident, he is liable to get 10 year of imprisonment and 7 lakh rupees as a fine. So these will be applicable. Now the truck drivers which is making a protest, they said that this is more rigorous. It is something which will create a lot of trouble with them. But to a certain extent अगर ethically बात करें, अगर कोई भी चीज mishappening से नहीं हुई है, intentionally हुई है, then this is something which should be imposed, right? There can be when government is actually looking forward with consideration. I'll tell you what are the discussion that is ongoing with the union. बट ये करंट प्रोविजंस है जो आपको पता होनी चाहिए. 10 year of imprisonment. Along with that, there will be, there can be a fine up to 7 lakh rupees depending upon what the honorable court decides. Now, earlier rule की अगर बात करें, इससे पहले भारतीय न्याय संहिता से पहले क्या रूल एप्लीकेबल थी, आईपीसी की जो अभी भी एप्लीकेबल है, इट डज नॉट स्पेसिफाई एनी प्रोविजन विद रिगार्ड्स टू हिट एंड रन. एज ऑफ नाउ we do not specify with this condition. Now this is where the section 304 into come into consideration. I mean normally or in layman term half murder kind of thing is also used, but I'm not using this as the loosely used term, but this is something 304A actually come into play, right? According to this person, if a person causing death to another person by rash or negligent could even invite a jail term for a maximum of 2 years. So यहाँ पे 2 year की provisions थी included by a fine, right? Or a fine that is something decided by honorable court. Now all cases of the part of hit and run is in the form of the part of activities which is now rash or negligence के तौर पे 301 की IPC actual में applicable होती है as of now. After the changes that will be there, I mean implementations जो नई जो codes आई हुई हैं, I mean the part of the new criminal code which is there will be applicable from 26th of January 2024. So let's see whether government will make certain changes on that particular section or it will continue. This will be only clear once the time 26 January is near to us. Now if you look at the data, I mean कितनी accidents होती हैं ये भी आपके लिए जानना ज़रूरी है. This is again vital to understand why government is coming with this. So you can see here, I mean the share of accident which is there, the maximum goes to hit by bag, then hit and run, then the head of collision. So this together, the amalgamation, the combination of this death report to the highest, right? The road accident death by violation is also there. These are the details about the pedestrian, bicycles, two-wheelers, and other details mentioned over here. If you're more interested, you can pause this video and check out the details one by one. Now moving ahead, meeting with the transport union. See, this has led to the chaos and even protest coming out from the fraternity of truck drivers. तो इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए एक मीटिंग एक्चुअली में गवर्नमेंट ने की है और इस मीटिंग को यूनियन होम अफेयर मिनिस्ट्री और यूनियन सेक्रेटरी जो है होम सेक्रेटरी दे हैव एक्चुअली मेड मीटिंग विद देम. सो ट्रांसपोर्टर्स इंक्लूडिंग the part of the taxi union, they have called a nationwide protest with this section 106 जो section नहीं है BNS के अंदर भारतीय न्याय संहिता, उसके प्रोटेस्ट में इन्होंने ये किया. The Union Home Secretary has said that government want to clarify that the new rule has not yet been implemented. There's a scope of changes. Whether government will be actually adopting it or not, this is something that the course of time will tell us. Now he also pointed out that the section invoking 106 subsection 2 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita will take place after the consultation with the trade union, I mean the part of the transport union और ऑल इंडिया ट्रांसपोर्ट यूनियन के साथ एक बार मीटिंग होगी. द फाइनल कंक्लूजन, द रिमार्क्स, द सजेशंस दैट विल बी देयर इन द मीटिंग विल बी टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन before the final implementation of this particular rules, right? So this is how the entire contemporary issue is ongoing. You need to be known about the relevant facts and details. Now, impact of the strike, definitely majority of the items which is there in India, the food items, the vegetables and other things that is coming to from one place to another is go by the transportation, and truck is using the part of vehicle as a transport, right? So the impact of the strike has specifically hit the region of the northern states which include Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, even Jammu and Kashmir, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal in east, Odisha and southern state. So pan India the disruption was actually created, which will, in the longer run can even led to the part of the surge in the food item prices. Now, 3 days strike, which has impacted the distributions of fuel and essential commodities. I mean, you have come across with the news where there are a lot of other chaos coming in the petrol pumps and other food vegetables market where the paucity of the items were actually seen. Now, moving ahead with other news, new rule for the family pension nominee. This is something that government has brought in with the new changes, and this is specifically with regards to the Ministry of Personal and Grievances, Ministry of Public and Personal Grievances ने नई रूल एप्लीकेबल करने की बात की है जहाँ पे women government जो servant होंगी, women the part of the women people who are actually serving the government of India will now can nominate their children as a part of family pension. This is precedent with her husband or any kind of marital discord, is there any kind of part of dispute which is emerging, that the women officers will have a right to transfer the entire pensions to his or her children, right? That is a sole authority that is given to a woman. नाउ अमेंडमेंट की गई है सीसीएस के रूल्स में. सीसीएस स्टैंड फॉर द सेंटर सिविल सर्विसेज रूल टू अलाउ वुमेन गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयज and the pensioners to nominate children for receiving the family pension over the spouse. So these are the important changes. Even this is something which you can use as an example here and there if the questions relevant to this is asked. Till now, the rule provides that the family pension will go to the surviving spouse. The children can become eligible if the spouse death is reported. तो उस conditions में एक conditions थी जहाँ पे बच्चों को pension दी जा सकती थी. Now the center has actually get a consultation from the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Following this, that decision has emerged. और ये request भी की जा रही थी बार बार from the women officials. They were actually demanding by the department that there should be this provision that should be allowed. Now in case of minor child or disability के केस में जो pensions है वो guardian को ही applicable होंगी, right? And if that particular child attaining the age of adulthood, that is the age of 18, अगर 18 की age adult में आ जाती तो फिर उसके लिए वो pension applicable होंगे. The amendment is a progressive in nature that would empower the women empowerment and even call for the part of pensioners significantly. So these are the minor reform which will definitely call for more empowerment of a women in the country. Now, center to notify new criminal laws soon, as we have discussed about the details of all the three laws, that is the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, or Bharatiya Sakya Sanhita, which was earlier known as the Indian Evidence Act. The implementation is due. The government official has said that by 26th of January 2024, this is a date where India has actually become the Republic of India. So this was date that is taken into consideration. Possibly the implementation will take place from this date. Now implementation strategy की अगर बात करें, how it will be implemented, first there was all round of scrutinization by the Parliamentary Standing Committee, which is known as PSC, right? उसके बाद और भी जो implementations हैं उनके लिए different stakeholders से भी discussions हो रही हैं. The pilot project is all set to begin in Ahmedabad for the next 2 months. The officials has added that 300 master trainers will be there because the new rule which is applicable under the code will need to be train the individual. The police personnel need to be aware of the fact that changes that has been brought in, which can be only possible once a formal training or orientation program is conducted. The officials and the interrogations will result in the faster justice, which will tune into the new law. And definitely it is very important that the police personnel which is actually making a deployment to the specific police stations in the country, they should be aware of the fact that how the rules are applicable, right? Because the certain major changes that has been brought in the Indian criminal system. Chandigarh will be the first state to see the integration and implementations of all these platforms. Now formation of task force की भी बात की गई है. The Bureau of Police Research and Development, BRD जिसे कहते हैं, they are looking forward with the part of formal training. And National Crime Record Bureau, this is NCRB, the National Crime Record Bureau will have a coordinations with the Indian criminal justice system, including the interoperability of the crime justice system, National Automated and Fingerprint Identification System, and the Adjournment Alert Module, the Crime and Criminal Tracking Network, जिसे CCTNS systems भी कहते हैं, जहाँ पे सारे criminals के record एक repositories में maintain होती है, which is again shared by the National Crime Record Bureau for coming up with the annual report. The annual report of NCRB, which come up with every year, this is something which is very important and vital information are shared with the government of India. Right? Now, if you look at the other details, as I've already discussed, but I'm giving you a glimpse of that for the one, I mean, individual who have not actually aware of this. So there are three laws which has been changed with the new criminal code. The IPC is known as the Bharatiya Nyaya Sahita Bill. The criminal code for procedure, that is known as CRPC, is known as Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sahita, and Indian Evidence Act has been renamed as Bharatiya Sakya Bill. Right. So these are the other changes. You can pause this video, read out. I have explained this several times, so I'm not investing much of time in this. You can take a screenshot for the revision purposes. Now moving ahead, center to suspend free movement along the Myanmar border, something important to ensure that illegal migrants, the people coming to the India, should be stopped. The central government is set to suspend the free movement regime along with the India-Myanmar border to stop the influx of illegal migrants. It became tough to identify, and even it called for more robust approach, the deployment of manpower, extra manpower to have a checking and other process. So government is actually initially looking for the complete suspension of the free movement along the India-Myanmar border. Now moving ahead, free movement regime है, we call it FM, right? FMR. So FMR allows the tribes along with the region to travel up to 16 kilometer inside the neighboring country without a visa. Without visa, 16 kilometer. This is capping 16 kilometer. Make sure you remember this, relevant for the prelims examination as well. 16 kilometer tak allow hai without visa. Now this implemented in 2018 as an Act East policy, which actually government has come up with. Now under the FMR, that is the free movement regime, every member of the Haley tribe who is either the citizen of India or the citizen of Myanmar can be a resident within 16 kilometers. 16 kilometers tak resident ho sakte hain on the either side, and they can pass the border within 1 year of validity and can stay up to 2 weeks per visit. So this was allowed without visa. As of now, in the current date, the government has made a cancellation suspension of the free movement regime. Now, India-Myanmar अगर border की बात करें, the Indian-Myanmar border is actually a porous in nature. Geographically, it's porous in nature, and it has a border of 1643. I mean, total अगर बात करें India और Myanmar की border, तो ये इतनी borders हैं. The states which is actually making the border area include Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh are currently under the FMR. Manipur share 390 km of the porous border with Myanmar, and which has, I mean, in that 390 only 10 km are fenced. So definitely it creates a lot of problem for the state administration, the police authorities, the law enforcement agencies to make a tracking on that. I'll show you an image of map which will help you a better understanding with this part. So you can look at the images here. That the total is 1643 kilometer of India-Myanmar border stretch, which goes with Mizoram 510 kilometers, Manipur 398 kilometers, Nagaland 215 kilometers, and Arunachal Pradesh 520 kilometers. So the maximum is shared with Arunachal Pradesh, ranking first. Second goes to Mizoram. Then we have a third, that is Manipur. Then the least is shared with Nagaland. So these are the detailed, vital, and informative for the upcoming prelims examination. Here and there you can use this data as well. Now moving ahead with the editorial for the day, that specifically and categorically talked about the office of the governor. We'll see the detail to this and what are the specific issues that I'm going to discuss. I'll tell you in a bullet points. So first we'll look into the background of the part of the articles. We'll see the constitutional morality, limits to immunity, commission's report, and the way forward. Starting with the background first. So the governor of Kerala is under scrutiny. क्यों scrutiny में है? Because a recent controversy which was there at Calicut University. So what has happened actually? So the governor of Kerala has actually directed the police to remove the poster criticizing him. See, in a country like India, every individual has a right to protest and right to criticize, right? Now, the governor actually labeled the student as SFI, the Student Federation of India hai, and the activist was actually accused of being criminal and even accused that the chief minister is supporting this movement. So this is a tussle which is ongoing between the governor of a state and the chief minister. That is the governor and the executive legislature, all that part. Additionally, he tortured the Kozhikode. He actually toured the quasi code without notice and breaching the protocol. So this is again in question that how without a prior information he has made a visit, the security and other protocol is taken into consideration. Now, since this incident has prompted the part of conduct of the governor, और इस तरह के जो अपोजिशन स्टेट होते हैं, सी द स्टेट द पार्ट ऑफ द रूलिंग स्टेट इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम व्हाट द रूलिंग गवर्नमेंट, बिकॉज जो गवर्नर होते हैं दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द एजेंट ऑफ द यूनियन गवर्नमेंट और द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, और सेंटर में गवर्नमेंट है बीजेपी, दैट इज भारतीय जनता पार्टी. आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इनटू द politics of that, just to give you a better understanding. Now here is a different, if it would have ruled by BJP, they will be have a better coordinations, but this is a different political party which is currently ruling, so that create a lot of problem, and these are the evidential facts that we have to take into consideration, you know, just to give an other side of the incident. तो इस तरह की चीज़ों में बात की गई है कि रूलिंग स्टेट ना ही होने की वजह से इस तरह की प्रॉब्लम्स बढ़ती आई. Now, constitutional morality की अगर बात करें with the office of governor, when it comes to the office of governor, it is definitely a part of the post, constitutional post, जहाँ पे primarily जो power, function और duties है governor की, that is taken into consideration, and even inquiring of an individual is something that has to be there in the foremost priority. Nevertheless, the concept of the constitutional morality is based on the value of the constitution. See how the constitutionality morality come. It is something which is embedded within the Constitution of India. जो Constitution of India में actually mention है उसके through ही power derive होती है. The notion of constitutional culture is deemed to be the governor public conduct, और इसमें ruling भी है सुप्रीम कोर्ट की और दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट की भी. The government of NCT versus the Union of India, यहाँ पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कैटेगोरिकली कहा था और स्ट्रेस दिया था कि जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी है दैट शुड इम्पोज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू ऑन द इंडिविजुअल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पोस्ट, चाहे वो किसी भी इंडिविजुअल पोस्ट पे हो, उनकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मैंडेट, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पोजीशंस की पावर, उनकी गरिमा को बनाए रखने की जिम्मेवारी उनके हाथ में होती है. The recent incident of the governor of Kerala has raised concern about the constitutional morality. Now I'll give you a details what exactly the constitutional morality actually talked about. Ethics के पेपर में, जनरल स्टडीज पेपर 4 में ये काफ़ी ज़्यादा आपके लिए रेलिवेंट हो सकती हैं. So the element of constitutional morality come for the right to equality, due process of law that has to be followed, social justice as again one of the important component, rule of law, preamble is one, individual liberty and freedom of expression. This is what together compose it with a part of constitutionality or the constitutional morality in the country. Now we have limits to immunity which is given to the power of the governor. अगर article 361 की बात करें, the article 361, most of you must be aware of this and you have read it from many any other constitutional book or M Lakshmi का. तो यहाँ पे constitution grant करती है limited and conditional immunity to governor, right? And stated that they cannot be held accountable in any court for actions related to their official duties, not for the personal one, to be precise on that. Now, however, it does not mean the governor is not liable for his misbehavior conduct or their official duty. There are certain pros and cons and even certain limitations which is there. Now, इसी चीज को ध्यान में रखते हुए 2006 में रामेश्वर प्रसाद वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया की सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने रूलिंग दी थी, where it said that the governor actions particularly in recommending the presidential rule in the state can subject to a judicial review deemed to be motivated and whimsical. तो ये यहाँ पे एक रूलिंग है. और उसके बाद the case does not specify to address the issue of immunity to the extra constitutional gestures and statement by the governor. So there are certain limitations of this particular pass which is given under Article 361 to the governor of the states. Nevertheless, the court has emphasized the importance of selecting the right person who can maintain the sanity and dignity of the position of the governor of the state. It is a vital position which is actually helping and making a coordination between the center and state, governor being acting as an agent to the union government, agent of the union government. Now there are certain reports by the commissions that have categorically come up with the part of the governor functioning. दो important commissions के report आपके लिए बहुत ही ज़्यादा important है. This is pretty relevant for mains examination and even for prelims. Precisely, it will help you in mains. First is सरकारिया कमीशन and other is MM पूंची कमीशन. सरकारिया कमीशन ने अपनी रिपोर्ट 1998 में दिया था. उन्होंने रिपोर्ट में बताया that they have criticized governor for lacking the impartiality, becoming the agent of the union government. The recommendations of the governor to remain detached with the local politics remain unfulfilled. and situation worsening over the time. This is what the Sarkaria Commission has said. And MM Punchi Commissions in their report in 2010 has specifically and categorically highlighted that governor do not bear any additional positions of power बियॉन्ड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल ऑब्लिगेशन और उसको ये ज़रूरत है कि वो फेयर और इम्पार्शियल डिस्चार्ज करे अपनी ड्यूटी की. So governor is someone who is actually to be considered that he is the individual who is taking care of all the decision with fair and full impartiality, making transparency in the entire decision process. The report warned that against appointment of the governor as the university chancellor, stating it can lead to the controversies in the part of the Raj Bhavan or the office of the governor. We have seen the same incident coming from West Bengal. और इस तरह की इश्यूज अगर आप और स्टेट रिमेंबर करें, तमिलनाडु में भी ये केस एक्चुअल में हुई है. देन वी हैव केरला एज अ स्टेट वेयर दिस इंसिडेंट इज रेगुलरली ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस. मेंस में आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछे जा सकते हैं कि क्या इसकी क्या सॉल्यूशंस होनी चाहिए. ऑफिस ऑफ गवर्नर बिकम इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर प्रीलिम्स एग्जामिनेशन ऑल्सो. Now, the way forward in the future, the government may need that there should be Article 155 Constitution, which means to deal with the appointment of governor, and only the part of the President of India. President of India can take this thing into consideration with the power of the validity and maintaining the sanctity of the office of the governor. तो यहाँ पे कुछ guidelines दी जा सकती है. सरकारी commissions की जो suggestions हैं that can also be taken into consideration. And they can consult chief minister of the specific state where the governor is appointed. This will make things more in a part of a transparent manner and having a proper synchronization between the state government and the government. Now, to improve the part of selection process, there can be an independent judicial body और किसी जुडिशियल बॉडी भी नहीं हो तो एक बॉडी बननी चाहिए जो कि चूज करे गवर्नर को, जहाँ पे चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया का भी एक सिग्निफिकेंट रोल हो सकता है. And he can be the part of the entire members committee, right? Additionally, there should be the rule preventing the former governors getting appointed and other official positions. So we need to ensure that the जिस particular position के लिए governor की appointment हुई है वो किसी और office of profit या किसी और positions के लिए further inclined ना हो. He should be always and he should work towards the welfare of the state and even ensuring the proper machinery functioning of the specific state where he is actually appointed as a governor. Now, office of governor has become very significant and important, and in a recent time it has been in the limelight. तो आपके लिए काफ़ी ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है both prelims and mains point of view. आप इसे ज़रूर देखें. Moving ahead with the answers and discussion for yesterday questions. जो पहला सवाल है उसका करेक्ट ऑप्शन है ए. मैंने आपसे बेसिकली न्यू वेरिएंट जो है JN.1 के बारे में सवाल पूछा था. इसमें ऑप्शन 3 करेक्ट है और ऑप्शन 3 करेक्ट है और जो ऑप्शन 1 है और ऑप्शन 2 है वो इनकरेक्ट है. यू कैन चेक आउट, pause this video and read out the detailed statement over here. The second question, the correct option is B about the Panama Canal. The statement 1 is not correct and statement 2 is correct. Do check out what you have marked as a correct option. Moving ahead with the MCQ questions for the day. Now starting with the questions, carbon C14 isotopes के बारे में है. It's produced when gas atoms hit the cosmic rays. It forms the monoxide when it reacts to the ambient oxygen. Photosynthesis is how it entered into the plant. Now what you can do to participate, most of you are not having a participation in the question answer. I humbly request that you should participate. आप ज़रूर अपने आंसर बताएं, आपके रिविजन्स होंगे बिकॉज ये सारे क्वेश्चंस करंट अफेयर्स से हैं और ऑलरेडी भी डिस्कस किए हुए हैं डेली न्यूज़ एंड एडिटोरियल एनालिसिस में, तो आपके लिए काफ़ी हेल्पफुल होगा फर्दर एग्जाम्स में. तो मेक योर पार्टिसिपेशंस. ना क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 के लिए आप क्वेश्चन नंबर के जो करेक्ट ऑप्शन हैं क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 लिख करके अपने करेक्ट ऑप्शन हमें बताएं एंड यू कैन ड्रॉप योर आंसर इन द कमेंट सेक्शन डाउन बिलो. The second question is about the X-ray polarimeter satellite, जिसे एक्सपो मिशंस भी कहते हैं. Indian Space Research Organization has actually launched this, and the research focuses on low magnetic and neutron star and the black hole. So you have to make your answer, write your answer in your comment section, showing your participations toward this initiative by writing the correct option, that is A, B, C or D. अब अपने choice with your logical reasoning, with your proper understanding of the questions, you can drop your answers in the comment section down below. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQs. If you have any other concern, queries about test series, the admissions or programs, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying connected.